Hello and welcome. This is Faceless Opinion, looking back on all the fond memories we had. Welcome you to the finale of Skyrim Month, the series where we went over Skyrim-related topics throughout the entire month of November. It has been a long journey. I've talked about every single aspect of this game in some shape, way, or form, from top 10 lists to discussions and everything in between. I've gone into detail about the good, the bad, and at times the downright ugly. Now here we are, approaching the end, and I couldn't think of a better way to wrap up Skyrim Month than by doing a retrospective piece, by taking a look at the legacy that Skyrim has forged for itself, and what may the future bring to not just this game, but the Elder Scrolls franchise as well. Now, let us begin. I think the biggest thing that comes to mind when people talk about Skyrim would not be about the story, the gameplay, or even the bugs. No. For me, the big thing that people always mention about it is all the re-releases. At this point, it is a running joke that Skyrim gets a new edition every single year. This game has been re-released a whopping 6 times. If you do not believe me, here is the math. You have its first release, which was back in 2011, which makes sense. Then we have the Legendary Edition that came out in 2013, which had all the DLCs bundled with it. Fast forward to 2016, we get the Special Edition where you can play it on the PS4 and the Xbox One. In 2017, we have 2 separate re-releases for it, one where you can play on the Nintendo Switch, and the other where you can play it in VR. Then we get to current day, with the release of the Anniversary Edition, where you can now play it on the PS5 and the Series X. Let that sink in. Skyrim, in the course of 10 years, has had 6 separate releases spanning 3 console generations. The number of memes that have spawned from all these re-releases speak for themselves. It's only a matter of time where we can play Skyrim with the refrigerator, or your Apple Watch, or my preferred choice, in my car. Every time I honk my horn, that counts as me using a dragon shout. Though, truth be told, I am a little surprised that Bethesda never made a mobile port of Skyrim. You'd think they would have. That's the only thing they haven't done yet. With all these releases of these new editions, people after a certain point get tired of it. Like, I can understand the creation of the Legendary Edition, since it comes with all the DLCs, and you don't have to get them separate if you have the base game. I can even understand the logic behind the Special Edition, since it is a remastered version for that generation of consoles. I've seen many games at that time get a remastered version for the PS4/Xbox One. Games that I have more than willingly purchased. Though any Skyrim releases after the Special Edition was excessive. Was it necessary for there to be a port to the Switch? Did we really need Skyrim VR? The Anniversary Edition is pointless. Supposedly Bethesda added in the fishing mechanic for that one. Who cares? Todd Howard, I don't know if you're listening to this, but you need to stop. Do not release Skyrim again. I am begging you. Leave the cow be. The teat has no more milk to give. It's all out. It ran out a long time ago, and now this is just animal cruelty. I understand that Skyrim is your magnum opus, but people are getting fed up. If you want to do a re-release of something, do a remastered version of Oblivion. I never played it, but I heard very good things about it. I'm sure a lot of people would support that. Hell, I don't know if it is possible or not, but a re-release of Morrowind wouldn't be bad. I would give that a try. Todd Howard, you have options. If you continue with more Skyrim releases, you're just going to make the reputation of your beloved game go further down the toilet. Because Skyrim, at this point, is a meme, and not in a good way. One thing that we should look at is the games that Bethesda has created over the past decade after Skyrim. The reason is, if we examine the quality of their work on other titles and how they were received, it will give us an idea of what they might do in the future, particularly about Skyrim's eventual successor, Elder Scrolls 6. Now, am I going to talk about 10 years worth of games that Bethesda has developed and published over the years? No, because that is far too many games to cover in one single video. So for the sake of simplicity and my own sanity, I'll only be covering Bethesda's 2 biggest franchises, which would be The Elder Scrolls and Fallout. For all the other properties that I am not going over, all I will say on them is that if you have played them, and want to voice your thoughts about it, leave a comment down below on one of the many games that Bethesda has made. The only caveat is that it had to have been released between 2012 up until 2021. With that out of the way, let's examine all the Elder Scrolls titles that came out after Skyrim, barring the re-releases, obviously. The first Elder Scrolls title that Bethesda would release would be Elder Scrolls Online in 2014. It was an MMORPG that takes place in the Elder Scrolls universe. Since I'm not a fan of MMOs, I never played it, but I have met people who have, and their overall view of it was okay. Could have been a lot better. And after a few months, their interest with it diminished and stopped playing it altogether. Honestly, from what I've seen of the few videos I've watched, to me, it comes off as incredibly generic. I mean, what does Elder Scrolls Online bring to the table that its counterparts don't? If you ask someone what their favorite MMO is going to be, they're going to say things like World of Warcraft, Guild Wars, Star Wars, The Old Republic, City of Heroes, New World. Now, I'm not going to stand here and say that ESO was a commercial failure. It wasn't. It made Bethesda a fair share of money from monthly subscriptions, microtransactions, and expansions. If it didn't make the company money, it wouldn't bother pumping out more content for it. It's the same reason why they keep re-releasing Skyrim. It's all about the money, and they know people will keep buying it, which is why they seem more invested in ESO than the Elder Scrolls 6. Then we get to Elder Scrolls Blades, which came out in 2020. Now for those who have never heard of this title, the reason for that is because it is a mobile game. For the record, I do not hate mobile games. I think they're fine for the most part, but let's make one thing abundantly clear. Whether you use a PlayStation, an Xbox, PC, or even Nintendo, no real gamer is going to waste their time on a shitty mobile app when they can play something of actual substance, because it doesn't matter how well made a mobile game is, it will never compare to a console or computer. I'm not going to say that mobile games aren't games, but you aren't really a gamer if that is all you play. With that said, no one's going to want to play a mobile game made by these AAA companies. If you don't believe me, take a look at the crowd reaction when Blizzard announced Diablo Immortal.
I just was wondering, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
When it comes to Blades, the reviews and consensus I got from it is mixed. No one talks about Blades. No one cares about this title. No one wants to play it. No one asked for this to be made. Then we get to the Fallout games. In 2015, we got Fallout 4. I have a lot of things I want to say about it, though I'm going to save that for a future video. What I will say about it is that one of the biggest things I hear about Fallout 4 is that it is nowhere near as good as Fallout 3 or New Vegas. Since I haven't played either of those games, I can't really weigh in on that, though with my personal experience with Fallout 4, I will say that for me, I was disinterested with it for the most part. I did not feel the least bit motivated to play this game. It took me a year and a half to get around to finishing it, and it's not like I didn't have time. I did. I just ended up playing games that I found more, how to put it, more worth my time, let's say. So, when I hear people mention Fallout 3 or New Vegas being far superior to 4, I believe there is a kernel of truth to that statement. Also, to come out that same year would be the mobile game, Fallout Shelter, where you get to build and manage your own vault, while taking care of the vault dwellers that live within. Now, you already know my opinion regarding mobile games, though I would say Fallout Shelter was arguably more successful compared to Blades, since the former made more money and is more well known than the latter. I have a friend who is really into playing it, though I think he stopped after a while. Simulation games like this don't have great longevity, because when you reach the limit of all the things you can do there isn't really a reason to continue playing, which is why you don't see someone play Fallout Shelter continuously for years on end. Now it is time to address the elephant in the room. You knew it was bound to come up. In 2018, we got the disastrous launch of Fallout 76, a game which should not have been released the way it was. All the technical issues that plagued it made it practically unplayable for months. Even if you could play it without the issues being too bad, there was a lack of gameplay elements, such as there being no NPCs at all. That feature was only added in 2020. You also have overpriced microtransactions for simple cosmetics. A freaking Santa Claus outfit costs $20. I am not making that up. Oh, we haven't even gone to the IRL controversies. Remember the whole canvas bag fiasco? When people ordered the Power Armor Special Edition of the game, they were supposed to get a canvas bag to come along with the rest of the stuff. Instead, Bethesda gave them a cheap nylon bag, and people were pissed about that, rightfully so. And that was only one of the controversies that came from it. Don't get me started on the data breach that revealed customers' personal information, or the fiasco involving the Nuka Dark Rum bottles. Seriously, what was Bethesda thinking? I had no intention of ever playing Fallout 76 because, like I said, I'm not a multiplayer type of guy. But holy hell, this is the textbook definition of a dumpster fire. Sure, the game was able to bounce back and be playable, but the number of bridges that Bethesda demolished in its wake has no limit. I wouldn't blame anyone if they decide to never purchase another game that company produces. I knew someone who played the beta and talked to me about it and how it needed some work done. Then a week later, it came out, and let's just say that person was not happy about the state of the game it was in. For those who purchased Fallout 76 at the time, I am really sorry you had to go through all of that. I truly am. The reason I have to bring up old wounds is because it is important to talk about. We need to know how Bethesda has fared these past few years so we have a good idea of what is going to happen with their future titles, which leads me to my next talking point, Elder Scrolls 6. When it comes to the next mainline entry for the Elder Scrolls series, we know very little about it. The only thing we've gotten these past years about an Elder Scrolls 6 was the short teaser trailer Todd Howard revealed at E3 2018. Since then, we've gotten no new information, no definitive release date, no updates about it, we don't even have a proper title for it, just Elder Scrolls 6. And the fandom has been concocting their own headcanons as to where this supposedly is supposed to be taking place. I've heard rumors of it being in High Rock, Valenwood, Cyrodiil, and now most recently Hammerfell. The lack of any real information is unsettling. Like, it makes me believe that Bethesda themselves have no idea what this game is supposed to be about. Though, just because things are quiet on that front doesn't necessarily mean that it is a bad thing. Maybe they are hard at work trying to make the best possible game, but I would be lying if I said I didn't have concerns about Elder Scrolls 6. Let's not forget that this is the same company that released Fallout 76. So I think it is fair to be rather wary about the games they put out now. Am I saying that history is going to repeat itself? No. I find it unlikely that could happen again, and I am really hoping that Bethesda has learned their lesson from that. However, Fallout 76 is hardly the only game that has come out riddled with bugs, rendering it unplayable. We can all name a couple. Not to mention, factor in that Bethesda games have a tendency of having some issues when they first come out. It is something that we should all be mindful of. My next concern is that Bethesda might get lazy with the sequel, and that we might just get a Skyrim 2.0. We joke about all the re-releases Skyrim has had, but the thing is, people keep buying them. It makes Bethesda money, so who's to say that they wouldn't just make a Skyrim clone, change a few things here or there, and give it a different name? I believe that is in the realm of possibility. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If that ended up happening, I would be pissed because it would show that Bethesda still has Skyrim on the brain. I want to make one thing clear. Skyrim is a good game, but it is not perfect. It has shortcomings, those of which that I have discussed at length throughout this series. Now, if Bethesda can't be barred to fix said issues in its follow-up title and improve upon what made it great, then why bother making another game? You might as well re-release Skyrim for the 10 millionth time. Another thing that makes me concerned would have to be the expectations that we may have. It is safe to say that we have things we would like to see in Elder Scrolls 6, like new weapons and armor, exciting locations, gameplay improvements, interesting characters, good storylines, new mechanics added in, the whole works. We have expectations of what we ideally want, which is good, but also bad at the same time. Because if you have a list of expectations and the actual product under-delivers on what you wanted, you're going to feel disappointed, especially when hype is added into the equation. When we get that first proper peek at Elder Scrolls 6, everyone is going to get excited about it, and we're going to be imagining all the cool things that we can do. As the release date gets closer and closer, the hype goes into overdrive until we get our hands on the game and play it for ourselves. Then we play it, and it doesn't feel as good as you were thinking it would be. I feel like hype can kill a game. The biggest example of that would have to be Cyberpunk 2077. I heard people gush about this game for months, years even. Then it came out, and guess what happened? I'm not saying Cyberpunk is a bad game, but people were definitely overhyping it, and that is something that I feel like may happen with Elder Scrolls 6. Given the fact that it will be coming out a bare minimum of 12 years, if not longer, after the previous game came out, and that will have to live up to Skyrim's reputation. That is going to be a high bar to even reach, let alone surpass. So the deck is going to be stacked against it. My final concern is more personal in nature, and that would have to be towards the possibility that Elder Scrolls 6 could end up being an Xbox exclusive. Since last year, Bethesda was purchased by Microsoft, that was a thought I had running in my mind since I am an avid PlayStation user. Now you could say that I am being paranoid and that won't happen. Logistically, I agree with that. I mean, they were involved with Deathloop, and that was a PlayStation exclusive. However, STARFIELD, a game that I was really wanting to play, is going to be an Xbox exclusive. So I don't really know what to make of this. All I can really do is hope that they don't screw over us PlayStation players. Though, wouldn't be the first time. Because back when Skyrim came out and they started releasing the DLCs, the PlayStation players didn't get theirs because they would be delayed for technical issues. We never got to play Dawnguard or Hearthfire until the time in which Dragonborn came out. I remember this time vividly because all my friends had Skyrim on the Xbox 360 and I was the only one that had it on the PlayStation 3. If you remember those times, comment down below. Anyway, when it comes to Elder Scrolls 6, I want to be optimistic. I really do, though I haven't seen anything that is keeping my skepticism at bay. Yet again, we don't really know anything, so we're just gonna have to wait and see. The only thing we can do at this point. It is hard to believe that Skyrim came out 10 years ago. To put that into perspective, when this game came out, I was a freshman in high school, where me and my friends would non-stop talk about this game during lunch. And here I am, in my mid-20s, still talking about Skyrim. The only difference being that instead of talking about it in the cafeteria, I'm now talking about it on the internet for anyone who's willing to listen to me ramble. It's funny, back when this game came out, I would have said that this was a 9 out of 10. Then, as the years went on, I would start to mend my views and would drop it to an 8 out of 10. Though, after doing all the research and work for Skyrim Month, I feel differently about the game. For me, I would say that this is a solid 7 out of 10. I think that is a reasonable score to give it, if you were curious to know how I rank it. Skyrim, to me, is not my favorite game. That might be shocking to hear, that given that I've made over 30 videos about it, but just because it is not my favorite doesn't mean that I don't value what this game has not just given me, but everybody. How many people have gotten their start by making Skyrim content on YouTube? Whether it was by doing walkthroughs, making lore-related videos, to even doing mod reviews. For how much we meme about Skyrim, this game is close to the hearts of many, me included. I just want to say, thank you Skyrim, and I want to say thank you to my fellow viewer for joining me on this little adventure. Skyrim has given us its fair share of moments, and I would like to know what your favorite was. Tell me in the comment section down below what you think. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and make sure you subscribe. Now until next time, I will catch you all on the flip side.